That look nice.
Mind the business that pays you. Yeah. Our people walk in power, we gon' blow up. No fear, no doubt, we gon' show up. Set your boundaries, shine bright, no fright. Unapologetic, we fight for what's right. Family keeper, that's a state of mind. Power protection all by design. Family keeper, we rise, we shine. Power protection all by design. Mind the business that pays you.
Hey, Mindsetters, welcome back. I'm your host, Monique Danielle Harrell, and you are tuned in to Mind the Business That Pays You. I am the CEO of Singleton Builders, and during this episode, we will be discussing having conversations about entrepreneurs building income, impact, and longevity.
All right. Welcome back. I am Jelma Bell Beecham, CEO of CRJ Squeaky Clean.
And I am Rochelle V. Gray, joining you from Charlotte, North Carolina. And I'm the CEO of Power Lead Network and the Business Grid. Welcome.
Look, you almost forgot what you was the CEO because I kind of stumbled in
Like,
the
what are the
beginning
CEO
too.
of?
Yeah, I was like, which one I'm going to
Live,
say?
we're live.
Yes, absolutely. Well, we have a great show lined up for you guys tonight. We have an awesome guest. Her name is Dee Porter. She will be here. We will be discussing Don't Let Medical Costs Steal Your Legacy. And if you are empowered by our conversations, please go to our YouTube page and subscribe. We do this every week live from 7:30 p.m. And we would like for you to subscribe and make sure you stay tuned, because we have a lot of great topics and a lot of great guests. So, with that being said, let's get into what? Our CEO check-in.
CEO check.
Yes, yes.
Time.
Okay, let's see. Today, my CEO check-in is something that's going to hit home with a lot of people. Money, family, and friends. Kindness
All right.
needs boundary. Again, I'm going to say family, money, and friends. Family and bind. Kindness needs boundaries, okay? So I guess this hit home so much sometime with a lot of people that I'm getting tongue-tied with what I'm saying because I know it's going to resonate with more people than not.
Definitely.
So here we go.
Yeah.
First thing we run into when you're trying to make sure you set boundaries with families and friends. People assume because you own a business that you're rich. I know a lot of people assume that. Here's the solution to that. Clarify internally that revenue is not your personal income. Say confidently to yourself, listen, I run a business. That's not, I don't have money at my disposal, so I just can't help you this time. Especially if you have helped someone 5, 6, 10, 30 times before. Make sure you set this boundary clear so that you don't, break a bond that you have with someone. The second problem is they see your brand growth but not your overhead. So what they do is what we call it counting other people's money, like a lot of people do, even though that's really none of their business. Here's the solution to that. Remember your numbers. You have to remember what you're doing. Remember, you have rent, payroll, taxes, marketing, insurance, all kinds of things. So stay grounded in your facts when you're saying no gently to them. You have to think of why you're saying no, even though if you're a good person like I am, like Rochelle is, like Jilma is, sometimes you have to remember what you have to do in your overhead that you have to pay because they don't know what it is. Third problem is family expect discounts, free services, and financial help. I can say thank God when I had a salon, none of my family did that to me. Thank you, family. When they came to get their hair done, they made appointments, they paid full price, and they have never, ever complained and sent me a whole bunch of people. But a solution to that is if your family expect discounts, free services, financial help, you have to say, Decide in advance what's your family policy. Is discounts option for you, no discounts, or is referral? Maybe they'll send you some referrals, you give them a discount. I used to say after 5 hairstyles, I can give you a half price one because my family really did hold me down and send a lot of clients to me. So the fourth thing I want to go over, we have about 9 points here. The fourth thing is friends treat access to you like access to your bank account. That's not fair. We all know that. Y'all know. Look, we friends, so yeah, that doesn't mean that I have to treat every time we go out, or when I buy me an outfit, I need to buy you one. It don't work like that. So the solution would be separate relationships from responsibility. Access to you does not mean access to your bank account. So you have to make sure if they're really your friend and you discuss this with them, I'm pretty sure they'll be okay with these decisions that you're making. The fifth problem, you feel guilty saying no. I know that's something that I've been through. I feel guilty like, well, I do have this here, and I know I'm going to Hawaii next week, so they're going to see I went to Hawaii. Well, so what if they see? You budgeted for that. You deserve to spend your money on yourself if that's what you need to do. But a solution to that would be replace guilt with clarity. Saying no protects your relationship with the person long term. Listen, if I loan you this money, you don't give it back, we not going to have that much, we ain't going to have fun no more. Because I'm going to be looking at you like, you just went and bought you an outfit and you owe me $5,000. So that's not going to work out and vice versa, because it's my money that you see me having fun with. And now I see you not paying me and you just doing everything in the world. So that's not going to work out. So number 6, emotional pressure overrides business structure. So the solution to that is create a written budget. When it's gone, it's gone. No emotion, just policy. If you want to help someone, like a lot of us do, we like to help people, say, okay, my cousin, sister, brother, best friend, whoever it is, I know they need help and I'm in a position, thank God, where I can help them. So I know they're going to come quite a few times, so I'm going to put $5,000 aside, $2,000, $1,000, whatever your means may be of helping them. And when that's gone, you have to say gently, I can't. I've exhausted what I can give you. I can't give you no more. And then you should move on gracefully. And if they upset, then they're not really your friend. They just want to use you. So you got to understand that. The 7th one is you help everyone to end up financially strained. Yes, we all know that's how that go. You help everybody, then the minute you need $5, can't nobody help you. Everybody like, well, I don't have no money. I don't have no money. I don't have no money. They don't even answer your call if they think you need something. So the solution to that is offer resources instead of money. Next time, say to them, well, I don't have it, but information is powerful. So here's something you could do with your income tax, like I did on the other CEO check-in. Here's 10 businesses you could start with that income tax money that you can spend up on some clothes. You can open up a business, and maybe the next time you might not need me to borrow money from me. I might need to borrow something from you. And the 8th problem is overgiving creates quiet resentment. The solution to that would be boundaries prevent bitterness. Kindness with structure keeps your heart clean. So you telling them, no, but, they should understand it's the same thing that I've been saying. They should automatically get it. And your 9th thing is, the problem is people confuse kindness with weakness. And that's not what it is. Your solution will be practice firm but calm responses. I'm not able to do that. That's not in my budget. I'd rather reserve our friendship than to give you this money, knowing you're not going to pay me back because I know you ain't paid 10 people back. So don't loan money that you need. Is what I always say to people. If you need the money, don't loan it to them. If they say they're going to give it back next week, that might be in 3 or 4 months because something going to happen again and they're not going to be able to give you that money back or you're going to be pissed. So just don't loan money out that you cannot afford to give away. Is what I say.
And that's difficult too. That's difficult.
It's very difficult. It's very difficult.
If you can't give it, don't loan it.
Right. It's really difficult to say.
Don't take no thought to giving it back. But they also tell the people, pay what you owe.
Right. But then if you ask for it back, which I wouldn't do, but if you don't give it back, I'm not going to ask for it. Then they get mad at you. Well, you need that $100 back. Well, you needed that. You borrowed it. What do you mean?
And
I need it
sometimes if
back?
people give it to me and they give it to me back, I'll just take half. I'll be like, yeah, let me gift you.
But if you
Because
can,
sometimes
if
when
you
they do pay you back,
can.
they want to, and it's still a stretch.
Yeah,
So I'd
it
be like, let
is.
me
Yeah.
gift you half, because you tried.
Right.
Right.
You know what I'm
If you
saying?
can, sometimes you
Yeah.
really cannot do it. You're just
No,
trying to help
understood.
somebody because they act
Absolutely.
like car repossession or eviction or
Right.
something, and you like,
Right.
I gotta help them. I'm gonna
Right.
help them, but I really
Yeah.
need them to give me this money back. You
Right,
really
but that's
do.
big money.
So
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
feel guilty about because people come to me, it ain't $5 and $10. They really want
Yeah.
some money. So
Yeah,
don't
because you
feel
got
guilty
a
about it.
podcast, girl. You got
Yeah.
and you a business.
Ain't that something? The truth behind it all is kindness without boundaries becomes self sabotage. You are not obligated to fund someone else's lack of planning because that's what it is. It's a lack of planning. Being generous does not mean being available. And protecting your business is protecting your family. And last of all, a CEO without boundaries eventually goes broke financially and emotionally. And there will be no one there to pick up your pieces. They're going to say, well, girl, you got a business. So again, I'm your girl,
Right.
Monique Danya Harrell. You can check me out online, Singleton Builders. We specialize in building custom modular homes. You are watching Mind the Business That Pays You.
Podcast.
All right.
All right.
All good words, good words. So my CEO check-in for today, my subject is when trials become training. What is that about? When it comes to a business owner, we all face problems. I mean, it's inevitable not to have any. It's not just the wins or the highlights, it's pressure. It's the setbacks, it's the hard decisions that we have to make. But spiritually, what if these problems are meant for you to go through to bring growth? Right, right.
Look, I was like, oh, let me be
Right.
quiet.
Spiritually, it has to be a purpose, especially if you are God's child. There's a reason. And again, it brings it back to these problems are nothing but getting you ready for the future, and it's a training ground. Problems expose areas that need growth, weakness, gaps, and fears. Exposure does not mean failure. Exposure means training. Sometimes God allows pressure not to punish us, but to increase our faith and our walk with Him. It's a
Amen.
training of discernment. Things that we still have to follow as a business owner. We have to hear God's words to lead us. Seek God in the middle of everything of your business. And then there's a scripture that I found for this, which will help us resolve these problems that we have. It comes from James 1:5. It says, if any of you lack wisdom, you should ask God,
Yes,
who
ask.
gives generously to all without finding fault, and it will be given to you. Then there's a second scripture, Proverbs 3:5-6. It says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not to your own understanding. In all your ways submit to Him, and He will make your path straight. So when you go through your problems, just remember there's a path to get you through it.
All right.
All right.
It's a storm, but we got to get through the storm. And He may give you turns and take you in different directions, but don't let the problems make it seem as if you have failed. It just might lead you in a different direction.
All right.
So the problems in your business, again, they are not to destroy you. They are to sharpen you for whatever direction God has to take you in next. So what can we do again? Pray. That's the one thing we could do to help resolve these issues when we go through them. Pray for fewer problems. There's nothing wrong with saying, Lord, give me something less to worry about.
Right.
Pray for greater wisdom, strong strength. And because when these trials hit, again, just remember their training. Just follow God's voice and He will direct your path. So that's how you learn from
Right.
that.
All right.
I love
Again,
that.
this is CRJ Squeaky Clean. Don't forget to like and subscribe on our YouTube, Mind the Business That Pays You podcast.
All right. Good advice.
Okay.
Good advice.
Yes.
Good CEO check-in because
Thank
that's
you.
absolutely
Can't do nothing without
absolutely
God.
correct. Yeah.
Listen, and whether people believe it or not, it is.
It is. It is. Yeah.
Well, I got to check in. Oh my goodness. How not to be sold again.
Mm.
Mm.
Okay.
So this video has resurfaced, right? I was looking at this economist that I listened to, and this video has resurfaced. So in 1959, there was a training video that circulated among white salesmen titled "How to Sell to the Negro." And when you go as salespeople, they do learn or take psychology classes, right?
Okay.
Now I said, let that sit for a minute, right? They not asking us a partner, not to empower us, not even to build community wealth. The training film, and it wasn't even about customer service. It was about control. So it portrayed Black consumers as emotional, impulsive, status driven, which could be true, and inexperienced shoppers. So they were coached to speak to us in a certain tone, to appear friendly but superior, to use flattery, to steer purchases. So they might say, "Oh, you know, I got this one for this price, but maybe you want this one over here." No, what we usually say is, "Oh, you think I can't afford that?"
Right.
They steered. They steered you to pay the higher price.
Okay.
And, see, it's a game.
I got
And
you.
avoid being appearing intimidated, they said. So the message beneath the surface was this: Black buyers have money, but they don't have economic power.
Wow.
That's true.
And that is the difference.
Wow.
And it's still today, right? So we recognize then and now, or they recognize our buying power, but they never intended us to have the buying power translate into ownership power. And that's where we got to shift the narrative.
It is. Yeah.
So what we got to understand is we can't change 1959, but we can change 2026.
Absolutely.
We should no longer just be consumers. We are creators. We are innovators. We are builders. And if someone studied how to sell to us, do you know how important that is? Then we must now study how to build for ourselves.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you 5 good reasons why entrepreneurship for 78% of us is necessary.
Okay.
First of all, ownership changes the conversation. When you own the store, the service, the brand, or the platform, nobody gets to stereotype your customer base.
Absolutely.
Ownership allows us to define excellence on our terms. When you own, you choose your pricing, you choose your messaging, you choose your hiring, and you can also choose to invest in your community. So ownership shifts from us being a target market to us being a market maker.
Okay.
Number 2, our buying power is real, but it must be organized. Black buying power in America is in the trillions, but it's scattered dollars building other people's empires.
Yeah. Yeah.
Organized dollars build communities. So when we support each other consistently, because you know they'll say, "Well, you're higher," or "Can I get a discount?" I'm like, "Do you go in the other store and ask for a discount?"
Right.
No, you don't.
Right. Yeah.
You buy, you pay whatever they say. So when we support each other consistently, circulate dollars locally, educate our children about money early, and invest instead of just being consumers, we stop being predictable markets and we start being economic forces. Number 3, entrepreneurship builds strong tables. If you don't have a seat at the table, you heard it, then you must be on the menu.
Right. That's true.
People, I've heard it,
Yeah.
and they're right. But entrepreneurship, you build your own table.
Right.
Tables of employment, mentorship, real estate ownership, vendor contracts, and community partnerships. And here's the truth. When we build strong tables, we don't get excluded, we expand.
Absolutely.
Number 4, legacy is built through entrepreneurship and enterprise. Jobs provide income. We can give people jobs. Businesses create assets. Assets can be sold.
Yeah.
They can be passed down to your children.
Right.
They can be leveraged. They can even fund the next generation. And we know that.
Right.
And I know you've done things for your children. If we are serious about generational strength, entrepreneurship must become a part of our cultural literacy or legacy, just like sports. Why are we only known for sports and music? Teach your children. There's an acronym called POISE. Teach them how to be producers. Teach them how to own. Teach them how to invest. Teach them how to strategize. and teach them how to be entrepreneurs young.
Right. That part.
So you already have entrepreneurial strength. You just haven't identified it yet. And here's what I know. Everyone is not meant to be a CEO of a company, but
Right.
everyone has genius,
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah.
right? So even if you're working with somebody, you can still have your thing on the side. You should.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us are strategic thinkers.
Right.
Some of us are relationship builders.
Right.
Some of us are creative, systems people, and visionaries. And entrepreneurship is an ecosystem. And the key to discovering your lane, so I recommend take the multiple intelligence test
Absolutely.
or assessment. Because when you discover your strength, you stop copying someone else's hustle and you start building in the alignment with who you really are.
Right.
My call to action, if you're ready to stop being sold to
Mhm.
and sold and
Right.
want to start building something, then go to my Beacon store at ceorochelle.com and take that multiple intelligence assessment. Discover your strength, your genius, your lane for entrepreneurship. And if this content that we produce is helping you think differently about business, wealth, and ownership, then go to YouTube, search for Minded Business that pays you, subscribe, like, and share. Because here we're building thinkers, we're building owners, and we are building legacy.
Well, all
right.
right.
That's my CEO
All
check-in.
right. Well, we
Great.
will be right back, everyone. We hope that you got some type of mindset information from all of our CEO check-ins. We have an awesome guest. We will be right back with her. Her name is Dee Porter. And get your tea because we on our way back.
Woke up this morning, got up out of my bed. I looked around, this is what I said. Thank you, Lord, for another day. All the blessings just in my way. I could have been dead, sleeping in my grave. But you told Dad, get back and hey, ooh-wee, another blessing. Ooh-wee, another blessing. Ooh-wee, another blessing. Ooh-wee, another blessing.
Hey, we are back, Mindsetters. We have our awesome guest waiting. Her name is Dee Porter. So let us give her due introduction.
All right. Dee Porter is a licensed insurance professional with a focus on health insurance and retirement planning, serving individuals, families, and Medicare beneficiaries since 2016. Dee is passionate about helping people understand the connection between health insurance coverage and access to care, especially as we age. Dee works relentlessly to bridge the gap between insurance coverage, information, and a real-world resource because she understands that knowledge is power. Welcome, Dee. Welcome.
Hi, welcome,
Hey, Dee Porter.
welcome.
Hi, everyone. Hello.
How are you today?
I am doing well. I am today. So I'm so glad that I'm doing well today because I've actually been under the weather for the last week. And oh my
Really?
goodness, allergies and a little bit of flu. And so I had something jump on me, but today is a good day.
All right.
All right.
Are you in
Today
North
is
Carolina?
I am in North Carolina. I
Okay.
sure am. In Charlotte to be exact. Yep.
Okay, Charlotte in the
Charlotte's
building
popping,
as
ain't
usual.
Yes.
Yeah. Charlotte is popping. If you want to, D, you can turn your phone landscape so that
Okay.
they can see a big. There you go.
All
can
right,
see your
awesome.
picture
Thank you.
bigger.
Guide me here because I was trying to get it on my computer, but we was having some issues. So all is well.
That's okay. That's
Okay.
okay. You're
Is this
here.
better?
Yes, that's better.
Okay.
Well, we're going to get right into it with you, Dee, because we are excited that you are in the healthcare field and, you're going to give our mindsetters some advice on how to navigate through this healthcare industry because I know it's challenging. There's a lot going on in the healthcare industry. So I had a question for you. My first one was, you started out as an educator and caregiver. How did that path lead into your health insurance and retirement planning?
Okay. That's how it happened. It did. So Lord, I have to take a lot of shortcuts here to answer that question. But so on the side of insurance, insurance is definitely is a career that most people just kind of bump into, right? So when you talk about, what do you do and did you plan for it? Most people that are in insurance,
Right.
it just kind of stumbled upon them, and that's exactly what happened with me. So I was in education, and I had two life events to really take place. But the real one was my son. So I have a now disabled adult son, and he has emotional challenges. So he lives with mental health disorders, and just navigating his process very early on. When I tell you it was challenging, and it's so funny in hindsight because I did not intend to be in education. That wasn't my pathway at all. And insurance kind of it has been full circle because it's really brought together more of what I wanted to do was along the lines of social work and counseling. So some kind of way I figured I would start off with social work and I would pivot into counseling, and I ended up in insurance, right? Where you're counseling about everything.
That's okay.
Because your insurance really is that protection that covers you. But for me, it was navigating a system where I was told very early on that my son may be bipolar, and which later turned out to be schizophrenia. But when you're dealing with that at such an early age, and they're trying to figure out everything, they're like, oh, everything was ADHD during that period of time.
Right.
And then you're looking for services, and services come with insurance. There's a lot of gaps, and I'm like, okay, well, how do I navigate this? How do I advocate for this? And all of that led me really to services that ended up being in insurance. So that's the pathway with my son. When at that same time as I'm learning how to navigate the system, how to find programs and get insurance and get things paid for, my grandmother, who is no longer with us, but at the time she assumed that because I was in education, I knew something about everything and I could tell her about everything. I was fortunate enough that I taught at the high school level, and so I had an early schedule. So I'm off work every day by 2:15, and my grandmother didn't leave. But yeah, it was wonderful, right? I don't know how those elementary school and middle school people do it. I don't know.
Right. I know, right?
But anyways, my grandmother didn't live too far from where I taught, and she thought that, hey, you're off early, so you can come and read my mail. And I would read her mail, and then I would read her neighbor's mail.
Okay.
And it also it had to do with Social Security. It had to do with their benefits. And they were, when I tell you, just women of certain stature, immaculate, but they didn't have a lot of education. My grandmother and her peer group, they were educated to about a sixth grade level. And these were people that were born in the early 1900s. I'm talking about 1915, 16, up to 1922. So it was that group. And they needed a lot of support. They needed to really understand the scam mail. They needed to understand what was real. And so I am navigating for my son. So I got one circle that's talking about, children and disabilities. And then I have another circle where I'm learning about Medicare and Social Security. And all that just kind of came together. And, in the middle of that, I was at work one day and I said, you know what, this is it.
Right.
And I didn't know what that meant, but that was it.
That was it. And here you are, right?
And now, yes, oh my God, 10 years later, full circle. So this is what I do full time.
Okay.
I've gone the pathway from entry, not knowing what I was doing, but I had a passion to really to help people, because insurance is such a service driven field. That's one of the when you're building relationship in the community, because I've literally built grassroots, and when people hear insurance, they sometimes some segment of the population, they feel, oh, that you're selling something.
Right.
And I used to shy away from that. That was such a scary word. Oh my God, people think I'm coming to sell something.
Right.
But I've grown very confident to know I am providing a service, but I'm providing a service through a product, and that product is insurance, and that product does offer protection, and it is the protection that you need, and it's the protection that helps you sleep well at night. It's the protection that you can stand up tall and be confident and know when you go in for that test, you, your child, your whatever, you can say, oh no, we're covered, because try having to go in for a medical procedure and you don't have insurance. That's a different walk.
Yeah.
That's a
it
different
sure
feeling,
is.
because you
Yeah.
don't know what's going to be said. Will you be able to move forward?
Right,
So it
right.
really is protection. And so I confidently say now, how do I help people? I help people through an insurance product. But that came from a story.
Okay, yeah, that's a
That's
great
great.
story
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
It is. And because my first question was, because you really care deeply about people and their healthcare journey. But now I see why. Because I've talked to people where it was just a business. And then I've talked to people like you and the guests we had last week. And you can tell that they really care about people. And now I see why. Because you had a pain point that you service and you really got to see from that perspective what people go through. And now I know that's what makes a difference with you, because even when we have questions, you give us like a long list of things to ask people. And it's awesome though, because we come in with confidence and we come in knowing things that people don't expect us to know. So my hats off to you for that. So you answered my first question.
She answered it already, huh? Well, what happens when someone doesn't understand the connection between their coverage and their access to care? Like, how does that look for those families when they don't understand what's really going on?
Yeah, oh my God. So that takes on so many faces. Sometimes it takes on premature, exits where people are confused and they just don't know what to do. So then they stop the process altogether before they could really see it come together. Okay, so there's things, authorizations that sometimes have to take place where before a medical procedure can be done, then there's a lengthy, process. But when people don't understand that, then it can impede that access to care. And that, unfortunately stagnates your health journey. And that's the biggest risk. Take the time to understand it. Is it a complicated system, health insurance? It is. It is directly connected to your care. Because if that system can't get paid, your care is limited. And there's a process to it. So don't be so quick to step out and give up, because ultimately it is your quality of care that is at risk when you do.
Definitely.
Does it depend on the healthcare provider that they have? What type of care they're going to get? Like, or do all of the big companies give the same type of opportunities?
So I understand what you're saying, but so let me kind of just break it down. So when you say that the provider, not necessarily the provider, but the coverage type, right? Okay. So all insurance is not created equally when we're talking about health insurance. And then it depends on if that provider is aligned with that network. One, if care is even going to, be rendered. So you got two different things that are going on here. We have networks, we have insurance types. And everything has, what it covers, what it offers, and what it does not. But just understanding that there is so much miscommunication on insurance. And the main thing is insurance is there to share in the cost. It is not there to be 100% coverage. Very rarely is there's anything that's going to cover you 100%. And I tell people up front, I said, listen, I can't guarantee 100%, but I'm going to guarantee you what your policy is supposed to cover and what it will do for you. That's the guarantee that I can give you, but I cannot guarantee you 100%. Insurance is shared costs. It is there to help lighten the load. It is there to help you have more access to care. And that's regardless on if you are, a high income earner or if you have fixed limited income. Either scenario, we want to protect your income. We don't want you to have 7 figures and then lose it all because you have to cover the cost of your care. And we don't want you to overpay either or not understand what your cost is when you feel like you don't have any cost because you do have fixed limited income. There's cost full circle, but we just got to understand it. And then that helps you empower you to get the services that you need.
So to you, is that the biggest barrier people face when they're trying to access quality health care?
It is. It's really just understanding the cost of the service and the care that you're going to receive. It is. And it varies, depending on what stage you're in. So, for example, individuals that are moving into Medicare and now Medicare. So a lot of times I hear people think, well, I paid for that already. I have to pay for Medicare after I retire. Yes.
Yeah.
You do. Yes, I do.
There is
Yeah.
cost there. There is cost.
Absolutely.
It's shared cost there.
Mhm.
So it's
Okay.
just those misconceptions, and then sometimes people will, kind of reject care for not knowing about the cost. And so we just have to empower you through education, through insurance literacy to know. I think if you know what to expect,
Right.
then at least you can position your mind and you know, okay, there is some cost. Here's the cost, and you're prepared for that. But when you just don't know, you know, for some
So
that's frustrating.
Yeah, there's a I worked at a hospital for 10 years,
Hmm.
not knowing
Okay.
too much about the product because I was on the IT side, but just
Hmm.
being around a lot of the individuals who did the claims, and I know they got a lot of call about deductibles. Deductibles was
Yes.
one of the biggest things I found in that time that people didn't understand, right? Because you want the lowest deductible, but sometimes the lowest is going to cost you much
later.
more later.
Oh
That's
yeah.
right.
Oh yeah.
So if you can explain a little bit about that, or what's your experience?
Right. So
And
exactly
how
what you
to
said.
look at deductibles.
Another thing we just got to understand what these terms are. So there's a lot of terms out here. A deductible is part of the cost share system. So cost share is made up of your deductible, something called a co-insurance, something called an out-of-pocket max. So these are basically, it's again, you're sharing in the cost. It's exactly what it says it is. That deductible generally is what you are responsible for, your portion, before the insurance company pays out its portion. And that deductible, they run high to low. You may have a deductible as low as $100 annually, as high as $10,000 annually. Again, it depends on the type of insurance you have, but that's just where understanding comes in. Some people say, I don't want a deductible, and they're willing to pay a little bit more if they have an insurance type where you can kind of buy that down. And then there are some people who actually like to have a high deductible. They look at the coverage more as catastrophic. Yeah. I saw y'all like, let me sit up straight. Did I hear that right?
Right.
Absolutely.
What?
Absolutely. So imagine, insurance, and of course, insurance is for everybody. So everybody has an insurance product at different, income levels and different scenarios. So I may have an individual that's a high income earner, and for them, they have the money, or let's say someone that's self-insured, a business owner, you have the money there to help in the event, a medical occurrence takes place. But you don't necessarily want to spend your money if you don't have to. You want the insurance to take care of you, right? But you got to have insurance. You know that if something catastrophic, so people don't mind paying for the smaller things. So sometimes I'll see an individual on certain policy types, and they'll go, well, I don't mind paying the deductible because I have the $10,000 here if needed, right? And then they know that the insurance is pretty much going to take care of the rest. So, case in point, I had an individual. This was a few years ago, and they're well off. They do well. They own a construction company, and they did not like the previous insurance that they had. They had a private health plan where it did have a high deductible, and I think that deductible was around $15,000. And they were responsible to meet 100% of that before the plan paid out anything. So
Wow.
they didn't like that, but that's what they had, right? So we talked about affordable health care, and they didn't care too much for the affordable health care model, affordable health care, aka marketplace coverage, aka Obamacare. So they didn't really like that either. But we talked about the pros and the cons of it. And I was able to educate them, and they decided to move in that rate. Now they did not get any subsidies on their plan, meaning they had nothing to drive the cost down. So they were paying almost $2,000 a month for this plan that also had a high deductible. But this deductible was $7,500, right? And they were okay with that because for them, they rather have paid the deductible at the rate that they would have the plan, paid the rate that they were paying for the deductible that they were paying, opposed to taking on higher coverage and then not getting really any immediate return. What they got when it came to Obamacare, which is affordable health coverage through the marketplace, federal insurance marketplace, they got a plan that did give them access to care right off. They had preventative services, they had access to primary care, urgent care, and they also knew that if they met that deductible, that the plan would kick in and there were no annual limits. And that's exactly what happened. The wife ended up having to have surgery that cost $100,000 on the neck.
Wow.
So they paid that $7,500. That was the deductible.
Okay.
They had another. At that point, it moved into a co-insurance after that $7,500 was met, up to like $10,000. So you're talking about another about $2,500, and then the plan took care of everything 100%. So they were out of pocket $10,000, but the surgery was a little over $100,000.
Wow.
So in that case, it saved them some money. They were able to stick with the high deductible plan. They could have got a plan that would have cost them about $3,000 a month. We could have brought that $7,500 deductible down, but they was like, no, I'm okay. I have it if I need it, but I'd rather take advantage of a lower monthly premium. So it just depends on the scenario. There's different strokes for different folks when it comes to insurance, but you got to understand what you have. And when you have a clear understanding of what the product does, then you can make the best informed decision. It's when you don't know.
And
it's
that's
when
what your
we have
company
bad
do.
actors.
Like your company, what company are you with?
Yeah, so I do own a small insurance agency. I call it a boutique agency, Bloom Health Plan Advisors, and that's my company. We do business as Bloom Health and Life Insurance Services, but you can find us either way, Bloom Health Plan Advisors. And I'm licensed in 13 states, Carolinas. When I say Carolinas, I include, home is north, but I include South Carolina, right across the board. So this is home base here. But even if it's something outside of the 13 states and I'm licensed, then I have a large network of agents that I work with that I refer to. So we can just about help anyone anywhere with an insurance, health insurance related matter.
Okay, because that's good, because you keep saying, they need to know. And I'm like, well, how are they going to know
They
if it's
gotta
somebody
know.
to explain it? That's where your company comes into play.
We come into play and do things like this, just happy to be on platforms that are willing to share and open up the door to conversations about insurance. See, we do local workshops, online workshops.
Nice.
We're always looking to partner in the community, faith-based organizations, civic service organizations, anywhere where there is a need, which I would like to say everywhere.
Right. Which is everywhere.
To talk and really just be an advocate for health insurance. We have something to say to help people.
Okay. Go ahead. I ain't gonna ask
How
all
do you
the
build
questions
trust
I
with
got.
people? Because people don't really trust insurance. So how do you
Correct.
build trust so they can be proactive and informed about their health coverage and their medical decisions?
Being more open to conversations, I really think like this, is people don't trust it because it is a lot to digest. And
It
you got to
is.
make a quick decision. Insurance is something that you don't need until you need it. So it's one of those expenses. You got to ask yourself, well, do I really need to invest this right now? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
Yes, you do.
And it happens. That's an all day conversation in my world, when my phone rings every day, and there's something that's already happened and a person did not have insurance and someone told them to call me, and now it's hard to backpedal.
Right.
Yeah.
I can take care of you moving forward, but we can't go back and catch
Right.
those previous bills if it's already occurred. So I like to think of it, I tell people, listen, it's a fixed expense. We learned about that in our generation. I don't know if the new generation learned about the difference in expenses. We had to take our economics 101 class, and they told us there are some things in life you have to have that are fixed, and I like to say that's insurance. It's a fixed thing. So we were just trying to get people to understand that. So
Now, what about?
Well, I appreciate you.
Oh, no, I was going to
No,
ask
go
a
ahead.
question. Let's say they don't have enough money to do their deductible. Are there any places that help them with that gap so that they can pay that deductible? Like at the time, they just may not have that money, so that they can the insurance plan could kick in?
There's a few different things that in that scenario that can take place. So a deductible, again, that's the cost share. So the insurance company doesn't dictate really how that's paid. That's up to the provider, the office, the facility. So you can ask wherever you're going. So if it's your primary care doctor's office and the deductible needs to be met, if it's surgical and you got to go into the hospital, you're able to ask them, or do you have a way that you can work with me? If they say you've got to have a procedure done and ma'am, you have not met your $500 deductible, see if they'll work with you.
Right.
Many places can and will. But if they work with you, make sure that you take care of it so you're good in their book. So if something happens again,
right.
you know.
No
so
burn, no
so you
bridges.
can right, you can ask for that. Also, many hospital systems, so whether you're inpatient at the hospital or again you're having something outpatient but that's affiliated with a hospital, a lot of hospitals have charity care programs.
Right.
So charity care, hardship, financial hardship programs. Open your mouth and ask. You don't know until you ask, right?
Absolutely.
Now, sometimes you are going to get a no. And I've had that happen one time where I advised someone to ask, and that provider was not willing to work with them pre-surgery. But what they did do, well, I'm not going to say they didn't work with them pre-surgery. They were not willing to work with them pre-surgery and schedule the surgery before the full payment was made.
okay.
But they did allow them to make payments and then satisfy that and then schedule it.
schedule.
And they were able to
Okay.
do so in that case. It wasn't like a true medical life-threatening emergency. So there are all kind of scenarios. But I do want to say this, when you absolutely don't have it and there is no workaround, then there are also places that will help individuals that are uninsured or underinsured,
Oh, there
in
are
some
places,
cases
okay.
seek medical
Okay.
treatment when insurance is not an option and it's something that you don't have. So all kind of resources, and I point people to other resources. If I can't help them and the goal is to have access to care, then I'm going to say, hey, let's see if we can find a free local clinic that you may be eligible to seek treatment
Oh,
from.
that's good. That was
love it.
some
I
important
love it.
information for our mindsetters because, like you said, a lot of people are afraid to ask. They're embarrassed. They don't know what
Gotta
to
ask.
do. Or some people, they just run from it altogether because they just don't have the money. Instead of saying, let me go in here and at least try to figure out how to navigate, they just altogether forget about it. And
That's right.
In certain situations,
true.
you
Until
can't
it's too
forget
late.
about it. It gets worse.
It
Whatever the
help our
problem
bodies,
is, it gets
it
worse.
does, it declines.
Yeah.
So what advice would you give to families who want to be more proactive and informed about their health care coverage and decisions? How can they be more proactive?
Well, the first thing is if you do have health insurance, create your online portal, your member portal. Go online and check out the resources that your insurance carrier has to offer. There's all kind of information in there. They have a full knowledge base that helps you get more in tuned, more knowledgeable with what you have. That's your first line of defense right there, to know what you have. And that's everything from the cost of your care to, other services that just overall help your wellness. So things like gym membership. I just talked to someone about that this week. So there's so many tools and resources, but you got to create the online member account portal. So do that first. Number one resource.
Oh, I got to look more. I mean, I've done it, but I definitely do have to look more into what I have.
Yeah.
That's
And there are
absolutely
things
true.
like webinars too. So your insurance carriers, they often have webinars. So if you're not the avid reader, and that's okay, or you just like, I don't even know where to start, they often have recordings and videos and webinars. So it's there. If you're self-insured or whatever the scenario is, and you have an agent, get with your agent to find out if they have any workshops and trainings. And then there's just different things too that you can find, like online, local libraries and different places around town will often have insurance education as well. So there are resources out here.
Yeah. And those online portals, I mean, it's a lot of good information in it. I know
Great
for,
information.
all my providers, I have access to it and I read it. I may not understand it all, but at least I get the gist. And then I just call them and ask the
Right.
questions. But another thing that I
Always
do, and one of the questions is, about what conversations should you have with adult children?
Yes.
Like
Ooh, that's a good
for
one.
me, my children have access to all my portals as well. So
Yes.
if God forbid they need to go in and look at something,
Right.
I let them know everything about my health care. They have access to
That's a good idea.
everything. You know,
I
share the
love that.
password so they can log in and see. But it teaches them too. So that question is good because the conversations I have to my kids is all about that, right? And giving them access, it opens up the doors for them to learn as well and know what to do when
Experiencing.
their children become older as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
True.
some great
We
information
have
in
a
the portals.
we do a program called well, I run a workshop. I won't say the program. I run a workshop as part of my um, education, platform throughout the year as far as insurance literacy is a clear path planning, and that's exactly what we talk about. It is building that bridgeway so where if something happens, and it's not all the time death, but it is, what happens, God forbid you have a heart attack or stroke. And, who's going to be there to pick up the pieces? Do your children or whomever your loved one is or the person that helps you make decision, how can they access your information to help you continue to access what's needed? So from insurances, just to day to day, I mean, it goes, we go in depth with it, but that's good that you already have opened up that door for that transparency with your children because it is needed. There is a time when someone has to speak for us and it's hard for them to speak with us if they can't access our information.
Right,
And
right.
everybody can't do that, but you got to still have a plan, a system in place. And it's so important. You can even have an authorization, which is not like a power of attorney, but you can have an authorization, husband, wife, girlfriend, boyfriend, mom, dad, children, whatever, where they can even call if needed and speak to the insurance company about basic things. They won't
things, right.
share your medical information, but
Right.
if there is that period, you're in the hospital and you just need your kid needs to go pick up your medication. They don't have your
Right.
ID card.
Right.
If that authorization is on file, they're able to call
Okay,
and they can
that's
share
good.
that simple information with them. So
Right.
That's good information.
have the conversation.
Yeah.
Now, when should someone start planning for Medicare? Before 65? After 65? When should
Yes,
they start?
before 65.
I'm
So
late. I'm late. Sorry.
No. You're okay.
It's
You're
not
okay.
obvious.
Different scenarios, right, for different people. But most individuals, right, the common age for Medicare is age 65. You do have individuals that will become Medicare eligible before age 65 because they have a qualifying disability.
Okay.
So we like to say, or we have to say, and for legal reasons, is that a person that's Medicare eligible,
Okay.
you want to start doing that homework
Okay.
beforehand, especially if you're going to be turning 65. So I say a year, ahead of the game, 64. If you're
Okay.
aging into Medicare, traditionally start around age 64.
Okay.
Just start to, peek your ear over and to listen. You don't have to make,
Start ear hustling,
Yes.
right?
Yes, I am hustling. You want to slow walk it in there. Because
Okay.
what's going to happen is the closer you get to that window, you're going to get bombarded.
Okay.
And at 64, you're already going to get information. People are going to start trying
Sending
you,
stuff.
right?
Okay.
But your situation may change. You do, I love how you said you do want to start ear hustling around 64. Around 64 and a half, it's
Okay.
time to really get that appointment on the books to see if this is the pathway that I need to take now.
Okay.
Again, different scenarios. Some people will be able to defer their Medicare at age 65 because they may still be working and have qualifying health insurance. Some people may not.
Okay.
So
64. Got it.
We got some
Dee, if you
ways
could
to
change
go.
one thing about the healthcare system to better serve people, what would it be? What would you do? What would you want to change?
what would I do? Less authorizations. Less
Ooh.
authorizations on services, on required, medically necessary services, kind of across the board. If we can change that, I would kind of open up some boundaries to where some insurances can cross over state
Right.
lines a little bit easier. So a couple of things like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
I appreciate that.
What
Yeah.
does choosing the wrong Medicare plan? How does choosing the wrong Medicare plan affect your retirement savings?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a good one right there. I thought we were going in a different direction with that. Yeah, so it all goes back to knowing your health, okay? Just being familiar with who you are. If you choose the wrong plan at any age, especially when we're talking about from a financial standpoint, you can't recover that money once it's spent. Most people can't, especially if they're retiring. So it could create a serious financial hardship. if you select the wrong plan choice. And when we're talking about Medicare more specifically, so generally when people frame that, they're talking about the differences between original Medicare and having a Medicare supplement or a Medicare Advantage plan, and like which is the best pathway to
Right.
go. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just how both products how they perform,
Okay.
and then knowing your health, right? Choosing the wrong plan could cost you a lot of money if you are not in tune with your health first.
Are you able to change the plans?
You are able to change a plan. You may not be able to change a plan right at the moment that you want to change a plan, but Medicare does have an annual enrollment period.
Okay.
And that annual enrollment period is in the
okay.
fall. And that
Okay.
runs October the 15th through December the 7th, that anybody
Okay.
that's on Medicare can change their plan. Now, there's some, other enrollment periods throughout the year, like we're in the middle of one right now. It's called open enrollment. That's January 1st through January the 1st, through March 31st.
Okay.
But that is not for everybody. That's only for individuals that are on a Medicare Advantage plan. Annual enrollment is in the fall, October 15th through December the 7th. Y'all, I got so many numbers in my
Right, I
head.
know. I know that's
So many numbers. October the 15th through December the 7th. That is the AEP annual enrollment period. So you always have that at least one period of the year that you're able to review. Now, you can look over and discuss your options at any time. Just doesn't mean that you're able to make a change
Right.
at any time of the
Okay.
year.
Something new that I learned last year when my father was in the rehab center is once he came out, I was able to change it.
It's triggered a special enrollment.
Yes.
So,
yes.
You,
That was something new
Medicare,
I learned.
yeah, Medicare is governed by election periods. In election periods, they, if you have a valid election period, so that's why I said there are different times depending on the scenario, the circumstance, you may be able to change, but it has to trigger
Right.
a valid, legitimate election period. Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
okay.
So,
We,
well,
go ahead. We lined
I'm
up.
looking at
we
the time. Go
winding
ahead.
up. Yeah, we're starting to wind up. But go ahead. You can take the last question then. I was going to ask something, but you go right ahead.
no, you go right ahead. I can ask
No,
them.
I mean,
Y'all might have the same question.
we might have the same question. I was just going to say,
Okay.
for our business mindsetters and everything, how are health coverage and retirement planning connected?
Yes, health coverage and retirement. Hopefully, one day you want to retire in peace.
Yes.
And one of the biggest, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to say one of the biggest. I want to say, statistically speaking, and this is true. Y'all got to go do your fact finding.
Right.
But health care is the greatest risk to your retirement, your limited retirement resources, because people fail to, and statistically they say even financial planners fail to include
Include it,
the
yeah.
cost of health coverage. And
Wow.
so if you are not thinking of this thing and planning it out and really taking into consideration your health, and you're not you don't have the right bundle of benefits, then you are placing yourself at risk. And that is a huge risk to a peaceful retirement. And when I say peaceful, as much as possible,
Yeah.
our health is unpredictable, even when, we try to get it right. Things come
Right.
up. But
Yeah.
if you know your health, if you know your health history, your family's health history, you're planning for those things. It's always the unexpected,
Right.
and just not being prepared at all. Let me insert this. Like one of the things that I hate to see happen, and it happens all too often, is people take their Social Security too soon. Now, not saying that taking it as early as possible is not right for some people, but when you blindly take it and you don't consider that is income that you can recoup, right? So individuals that take their Social Security at 62 and a half and they didn't look to see
Right.
what it was going to be at 65 or at 70 or even give any consideration. I've seen that, difference be hundreds that you just can't get back. And some people are thinking, well, I'm working, I'm okay. but thank you. They're thinking they're working, they're okay, and then life changes, right?
Right.
And what if you just cut $500 off of your income without knowing? So it's
Wow,
things
wow.
like that. Just that, what's the old cliche? What is when you fail to plan?
Plan.
Right.
Exactly.
No
So
plan
you
is
gotta
plan
just
to
have a
fail.
plan.
Yeah.
That's right. So it's planning.
Well, yeah.
Retirement takes careful planning. You don't have to
Yes.
know it all, but don't go at it blindsidedly. Do consider the what ifs and take
Call
a
D Porter.
You were
Call
an
D. Porter.
awesome,
Yeah.
awesome guest. Our time is winding down so quickly. I mean,
Yes.
you were so informative. I know that our mindsetters got a lot of usable information from your conversation with us. So we have to ask you the question we ask everyone on the way out of the show. It's called the
Yes.
CEO checkout, and it is
All right.
it's something simple. It's not nothing hard. As a
Okay.
CEO, I'm still learning blank, and I'm unlearning blank.
Oh Lord, as a CEO, I'm still learning. Okay. That's a good one. That is a good one. I love that. Oh my gosh. So, as a CEO, I am still learning that things change and you have to keep up. So you have to stay knowledgeable. You have to give people opportunity to learn. And you have to stay in the forefront of knowledge because there is change. And so
Yes.
just finding a way to reach as many people, especially where we stand now, because we have so many generations that we are trying to
Yes.
capture their attention with good information.
Yes.
And it's understanding that the best way to communicate and to be open to change. And I am learning that.
And you are unlearning what? That's the last part.
I am still unlearning poor communication, like give people time to catch up. So for me, it's all about communicating. I am learning the best ways to communicate. So that's my pro and my con as the CEO.
Now, just
And
give our
so-
mindsetters one last, tell them one last time how they can reach out to you, because your information, your business is so important and it's so informative
you.
that I'm sure it can help a lot of our mindsetters. So how can they reach
Absolutely.
you again?
Yes. Okay. So I am D Porter. Cover Me D. Cover Me D. So that's on all social media platforms, or Bloom with D. Cover Me D, Bloom with D. My business is Bloom Health Plans. So you can literally Google bloomhealthplans.com. That is plans, plural, with the S on the end. You can reach out to me also by phone, same number you'll find online, 980-867-1814. But reach out to me. I'm on social media platforms, Bloom with D. At bloomhealthplans.com.
We love it, and thank you so much, guys. We are out of time. You have been tuned into Mind the Business That Pays You, and always
Yes.
remember, never be too busy to
mind
mind
the
the
business
business
that
that
pays
pays you.
you.
Thank you for tuning in.
Good
See you next
night.
time.
Love that.
Good night.
Thanks.
Thank
Good
you.
night. Good night. Thanks.
Good
D.
night. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good night, ladies.
You're very welcome. Bye-bye, you all.
The business that pays you. Yeah. Our people walk in power, we gon' blow up. No fear, no doubt, we gon' show up.